great addition to our Western coalition. And Senator, why don't we go to you, Senator Padilla?
Well, thank you, Senator Wyden, and thank you, Senator Murray, for pulling us all together. It's great to work in partnership with you on these, not just important issues, but obviously critical and urgent issues. I want to thank in advance Mario Cordero, CEO of the Port of Long Beach, who you'll be hearing from here in a few minutes, for lending his important sort of on-the-ground impact perspective to this conversation, for all the great work that he does at the port each and every day. Now, for those who may not know, the state of California is home to two of the largest ports in the country, two of the largest and busiest ports in the country, the ports of Los Angeles and Long Beach alone. So not counting Oakland, San Francisco, San Diego, and others, the ports of Los Angeles and Long Beach alone receive 40% of our nation's imports. Together, they make up a keystone for the success of not just the regional economy or the state economy, but truly our nation's economy. And so that's why these past few weeks, the whiplash and the rhetoric around these unnecessary tariff wars have been so concerning. We're beginning to hear from our local folks on the West Coast. I mean, the Port of Los Angeles alone has publicly said that they expect imports to drop by about 35% in 2 weeks' time if everything stays as has been stated, with the Port of Long Beach making a similar forecast and projection. So the San Pedro Bay ports combined are the blinking red lights for our nation's economy. So think about what that drop in cargo would mean. You know, it's not just a slowdown in activity at the port. For consumers, it'll mean a high likelihood of shelves not being stocked. Imagine consumers going into stores and finding empty shelves. We know already that even the threat of tariffs, and certainly once tariffs are in effect, it's going to mean higher prices, higher costs for importers passed on to consumers. That is what we can expect. And undoubtedly, it's only a matter of time before more Americans will be out of work. So America has to get ready to feel the full pain of Trump's tariffs unless we can get him to reverse course, or Republican colleagues for that matter. Because while today it may be the Western ports that are already feeling the impact, it's only a matter of weeks before similar impacts are felt on the East Coast or along the Gulf Coast. In the Senate, as you've heard, we've been proudly working together with my Democratic colleagues to vote to undo Trump's reckless tariffs and to protect our economy. But just yesterday, Senate Republicans voted to keep Trump's tariffs in place. That was the net effect of their vote. So as long as House and Senate Republicans are more faithful to the president and his desires than they are to his own constituents and to our nation's economy and our national security, we have to shed light on what's going on and tell the American public where the responsibility lies when the pain comes and when the economy further declines. The first quarter has already seen a shrinking of the economy because of Trump's policies and his rhetoric. But we're here now with the urgent plea because it is not too late. If we were to turn back now, we can avoid some of the most severe devastation. But every day that Donald Trump fails to reverse course, America moves closer to a recession of Donald Trump's making, plain and simple. We can avoid it. We should avoid it. And that's why we're here today.
This over to Mario from the Port of Southern California.
And Senator Ron Wyden, I appreciate all the work you and your colleagues have done to support America's ports, as we are the key drivers of jobs and the economy. I appreciate the opportunity to join you to offer the Port of Long Beach perspective. Last year, the Port of Long Beach moved cargo valued at more than $300 billion to and from every congressional district. We moved the most containerized cargo of any American port in the first 3 months of 2025. And this activity directly supports 2.7 million jobs throughout the country. But with the current trade landscape, as the month of May begins, we are entering the period when the St. Peter Bay complex will shift suddenly from cargo surges to cargo reduction. Our forecast shows that we will see a sudden slowdown in trade. Shipping lines have already canceled 34 sailings that would have called at the Port of Long Beach over the next 2 months. We expect more than a 30% drop in the imports in May. Whatever downturn in cargo we experience will be in stark contrast to the first part of the year, when the specter of new tariffs pushed shippers to and front load their cargo shipments, leading to a record first quarter 2025 for the Port of Long Beach and boosting Long Beach as the busiest U.S. port. But after a robust first quarter, the current tariffs between the U.S. and China will diminish cargo volume. In addition to imports, Long Beach is a major export gateway for our farmers and ranchers, not just those in California. We also handle agricultural exports such as meat, cotton, nuts, and produce from southern and Midwestern states. And after a healthy April, the tariffs between the U.S. and China are expected to slow cargo volume. China accounts for about 60% of imports at the Port of Long Beach and about 20% of exports. In the short term, consumers will start finding fewer choices and higher prices on the shelves. And if you're one of the millions of Americans whose job depends on cargo moving through the Port of Long Beach, are workers in longshore, truckers, logistic workers, retailers, farmers, and factory workers, any sort of long-term sustained downturn in shipments caused by the tariff will be detrimental to the job market. Companies are going to be moving less cargo and will have less work for their workforce throughout the supply chain. It's an effect that will be felt far beyond the docks. As we monitor the changing dynamics of trade, we want to make sure that decision makers and the public understand how vital trade is to our economy, to American businesses and families. It's a wake-up call for consumers, and it's a time of radical uncertainty for the business sector. Still, I'm hoping the underlying issues can be worked out. I am optimistic. For the Port of Long Beach, we are leading the world in innovation, modernizing our port to manage growth, increase in connectivity to hubs throughout the nation. We have a $3.2 billion investment in port modernization projects planned for the next 10 years. These upgrades will improve to increase safety and efficiency of the flow of cargo and reduce impacts to our communities. I'm grateful for the senators here for their leadership highlighting this issue, and I'm confident that the White House and Congress all recognize the significance of these issues and are working to resolve them to ensure America's economy can continue to thrive. Thank you so much.